Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your AEW Fyter Fest 2019 preview and predictions. We have got a pretty freaking loaded card on this show, as far as I'm concerned, at least. I'll tell you guys, as gentlemen. Sorry about that. I had to keep this pulled up in a separate tab to make sure that we were actually live. But I would definitely like to go over this card before I kick it over to you, John. We have got 3 matches set to be on this pre-show, so we're definitely going to want to live react to the pre-show. We've got Michael Nakazawa versus Alex Jebailey in a hardcore match. We've got Kylie Ray versus Leva Bates. And Leva Bates will also be having the other librarian, Peter Avalon, at ringside with her. And then in the most important match on the pre-show that I would argue should probably be on the main show over at least one of the show matches that's already on the main show, we've got Best Friends, who you already know is Chucky T and Trent, versus SCU, represented by Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian, versus Private Party. Now, I don't know if you guys are at all familiar with Private Party, but I can tell you that they were both members of the Double or Nothing casino battle royale. So we got a hint of them on that show, and they did some crazy shit. I saw they did one really crazy, awesome, like, springboard cutter. It's the team of Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn. So for those of you that are familiar with them, awesome. If you're not familiar with them, that's unfortunate, but hopefully you'll get to know them a little bit better on this actual show. That being said, John, I mean, before we get into the main show, do you have anything you want to say about the first 3 matches as far as the pre-show goes?
No, definitely looking forward to match 3 the most, because this World Tag Title Tournament definitely has my interest peaked. But other than that, I mean, Kylie Ray versus Leva Bates, I will be rooting for Leva Bates in that one, but that's different from our prediction, which we'll get to later. So I guess let's talk about the main card.
All right, let's get into the main card. And I can tell you guys that the first match that's supposed to happen on the main card, from what I understand, now this might not actually be in order, but I would definitely say that it is the least important match on the main card, and this is really the one that I would prefer to be on the pre-show rather than the triple threat tag team match. Because here's the thing: that triple threat tag team match isn't stakeless. It's not without stakes. It's got stakes. It's for an opportunity at a first round bye. It's actually for an opportunity to be in a match for a first round bye in the AEW World Tag Title Tournament. You all know, based on the Tony Khan interview with Steve Austin, AEW is planning on having a World Tag Title Tournament come, I want to say, like October, November-ish, when they actually do have their live TV show on TNT. And there's apparently going to be a tag team match on All Out, which is August 31st, where the winning team earns a first round bye. So this match is going to determine one of the 2 teams, or maybe one of the however many teams. I don't know if it'll only be 2 or if it'll be another multi-team match at All Out, but the winner of this match will be in that match. This is them earning their way into it, and then the winner of that match gets the first round bye. So in a way, it's kind of an opportunity to kind of get a huge advantage in that tag title tournament. And you know, all these teams want to be the first ever AEW tag team champions, because no matter how many times you win those things, no one will ever be the first again.
Exactly. That's why I think I'm so intrigued about this tournament. So yeah, anything related to that on this card. So we got the pre-show match, and then that other tag match you were just discussing. Yeah, that's going to be very interesting to me. Definitely looking forward to that.
So then on the main show, we do have Christopher Daniels versus Cima, which is kind of, like I was saying, the match that I think should be swapped with that 3-way tag match, because from what I understand, there are no real consequences for this match. It's just a match to kind of showcase Cima, who is kind of gonna, I'm guessing, is gonna kind of be the face of OW. I believe it's OWE, I want to say. It's the Chinese wrestling promotion. I forget. I think it's OWE. But he's kind of the face of that promotion, because he was like the sort of the leader of the team that was, I forget what they were even called. It had Star in the name of it, but he was kind of the leader of that team on Double or Nothing when they faced SCU. So now we've kind of got the leader of each team, Daniels and Cima, facing off with each other. John, how do you feel about that match itself?
I don't really care for it, honestly. Cima's okay, but Daniels, I really haven't been into Daniels in several years. But maybe it'll be a decent opener if they give him time. You know what's funny is I heard that before AEW even approached Daniels from an interview that he gave, he was considering retirement. And he could still go well enough, I think, to be in a spot like this. I'm just not very enthused about it.
It was Strong Hearts. Thank you, Iconic. It was Strong Hearts. And I was right about it being OWE. Oriental Wrestling Entertainment is the full name. But yeah, the team Strong Hearts. It was him, and then T-Hawk. I remember T-Hawk. And then I forget the name of the other guy. But yeah, it's funny that I forget the name of the other guy because I feel like I remember liking the third guy the most out of the three of them. Like I like Cima and T-Hawk was fine. But I actually do remember really liking, it was El Lindemann. That's right. It was El Lindemann. I actually remember really liking him a lot more than the other two even. So we're not going to get to see T-Hawk or El Lindemann on this show, though. Let's just kind of plow through recapping the rest of the card, though. We've got a triple threat women's match. Yuka Sakazaki versus Riho versus Nyla Rose. That should be interesting. Cody versus Darby Allin in Darby Allin's AEW debut. Jon Moxley versus Joey Janela in an unsanctioned match. And then our double main event that I am very excited about. Adam Page versus Jimmy Havoc versus Jungle Boy versus MJF. That's going to be incredible. And then the actual main event, the Elite, which for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Elite, it's Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid. And I can tell you, John, this was originally supposed to be the Lucha Bros and Pac, but we know that Pac and AEW are kind of having creative differences, so he was replaced with Laredo Kid. Laredo Kid should be one hell of a replacement, though, because he's still a very entertaining performer. And at the end of the day, even if he is the weak link in this match, it's still 5 of the best performers in the world right now, and especially if you count the Young Bucks as tag team performers, they're definitely up there.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you get tag team craziness like what we're going to have here, it's definitely a fun time. That 4-way should also be an incredible matchup, and that unsanctioned match between Moxley and Janela, this is really going to be Moxley getting back to his roots. I feel bad for Darby Allin that he's got such a shit opponent, but hopefully it works out because I really do like Darby. In fact, you want to talk about hardcore matches, I'd love to see Darby work with Mox in that environment. I think that could be a type of matchup that really makes Darby Allin. So, yeah, that's the only other really weak match that I just kind of yawn about because Cody just does nothing for me, but everything else still looks really solid.
Absolutely. So let's actually get into predicting these matches, starting in the pre-show. First up, Michael Nakazawa versus Alex Jebailey in a hardcore match.
I don't really feel like I'm familiar with either of these guys, but given your enthusiasm on Nakazawa, I'm just going to go with him to win this.
I mean, yeah, he was in the fucking goddamn it casino. I forget the word casino for whatever reason. He was in the Casino Battle Royale. He was the one that used the baby oil on himself to slip out of a waist lock.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be quite evasive, which I think is
from what I remember, or from what I understand, I should say, he's actually a DDT guy.
Okay. I'll still go with him, though, because if you're that evasive, I'm sure there'll be some kind of fuck finish.
Yeah, and apparently Alex Jebailey is the founder and CEO of CEO Gaming, which is what this show is going to be taking place at. Like, this Fyter Fest is actually taking place at a fighting game championship tournament. Like, it's going to feature Brawlhalla and Super Smash Bros. And Street Fighter and Tekken and Mortal Kombat. So Fyter Fest taking place at CEO is pretty fucking cool. And then Alex Jebailey, I mean, he has in his Twitter description that he is an undefeated pro wrestler, but he's not a pro wrestler by trade. He's a CEO and founder of CEO Gaming.
Well, I'm actually glad you added that context. So I'm going to switch my pick. I'm going to say Jebailey wins then. I mean, because if it's your house, then really it's your rules. And if he's like the CEO of this venue, yeah, he's going over.
And for those of you that are unfamiliar with CEO, I'm actually learning right now that It's short for Community Effort Orlando. So it's it's a yearly fighting game tournament. It's not a tournament in the sense that like everyone gets tossed into one big bracket or anything, but it is an event consisting of multiple tournaments over all of the different fighting games. And I guess I don't know. I wonder if Super Smash Bros. Melee is still on it, because I know that Melee got dropped from whatever the like official. Oh, God damn it! I'm so bad at remembering this stuff, but there's like the big one, the biggest fighting game tournament of the year is the one that Melee got dropped from, but I don't know if it got dropped from CEO or not. I don't think CEO is the big one. I think that there's one that happens earlier in the year, like May or April or March even, that dropped to Melee. That being said, though, I don't want to linger too long on this. I think I'm probably going to lean with Jebailey as well. But I mean, if you want to have like your comedy spots and stuff, Nakazawa is the perfect guy for it. So let's get into our second match: Kylie Rae versus Leva Bates. This is the in-ring debut in AEW of Leva Bates, the librarian. And let's not forget that Peter Avalon also calls himself the librarian. So we've got two librarians, and I almost wonder too if it's going to be like, are they going to announce that it's Kylie Rae versus Leva Bates, or are they going to announce that it's Kylie Rae versus the Librarian, which Leva Bates and Peter Avalon will both answer to, and it'll somehow manage to become a 2-on-1 handicap match?
I could actually see that second option happening.
Oh, and then, by the way, the big video game tournament is EVO. I forgot EVO. It's EVO that Melee got dropped from, but hopefully it didn't get dropped from CEO. But back to this match, the women's match.
Yeah, I think AEW probably has interest in pushing Kylie Rae in the future as like a big babyface women's champion for them.
Yeah.
But I think a babyface is also in the struggle, so I'm actually kind of torn here. It'll be interesting seeing Leva Bates work the more heel role. I'm not used to that from her, just given the whole blue pants thing in NXT. So you know what? Unpopular opinion here probably, but I'm actually going to go with the Librarian for the win. I think, yeah, they'll have Kylie Rae struggle a little bit. I hope that I actually grow to like her in this match. I really wasn't impressed with her at Double or Nothing. I felt like she was just kind of there, especially because I heard a lot of like the Bayley comparisons. I think Bayley's a superior competitor, but I think in a one-on-one context, I'll be able to have a much more informed opinion. But I still see the Librarian going over here.
All right, well, there you go. Interesting take for sure. I guess we can move on.
Well, who are you picking, though?
Probably make my prediction, yeah. I'm actually going with Kylie Rae to win, but then again, I also picked Kylie Rae to win that triple threat at Double or Nothing, so maybe I am just convinced that AEW is more behind Kylie Rae than they really are. I guess we'll find out tomorrow, because tomorrow is when the show is. So let's get to the really important pre-show match. Best Friends versus Scorpio Sky and Kazarian versus Private Party. What do you think, brother?
Oh, I think SCU's got this, dude.
Oh,
I think
see,
SCU...
we do disagree on this. I'm going with Best Friends because they had an incredible performance against Los Güeros del Cielo on Double or Nothing, and like obviously SCU won their match on that show as well. But I just feel like the Best Friends had a more impressive performance, and I feel like we're both kind of having the same logic as far as like one of these two teams is going to go 2-0 in tag team action, and the other team is going to take their first tag team loss. I just am. It might even be more me like picking the team that I want to win more than just going straight up just who I think is going to win. But I really hope that AEW really gets behind Best Friends over SCU.
I mean, let me make it perfectly clear. I completely agree with you. I think Best Friends are a really fun tag team. I think they're really entertaining and really good at what they do. I think they're a better tag team than SCU. Just something tells me that SCU, maybe because they're veterans and maybe because they have, greater brand value. Like if I would say to Daniels and Kazarian, even though it's Scorpio Sky here in this case, people would probably say yes. If it was Best Friends, maybe not as many people would know. I think AEW is going to rely on familiarity in their embryonic stages before they move on to really building organic talent. Which I can't necessarily blame them for, but let's hope that it's not too much of a toxic dependency. But because of that, I do have to think that SCU is going to go over.
Does Frankie Kazarian really have that much bigger of a name than Trent Beretta, though?
Than Trent Beretta? I think you'd have a debate there, especially given the Trent's,
because I feel like those are the two bigger names out of these teams. Because Scorpio Sky, really, his his most well-known work, I feel like, is with fucking Wrestle Circus. Like, he's not that well-known.
Right.
And like
I don't
Chucky
know.
T, yeah, like Chucky T. I feel like Chucky T and Scorpio Sky have really similar profiles, actually, in the sense that they both have worked quite a bit and really made a name for themselves on like smaller U.S. indie shows and really like spotted like rare appearances for New Japan. Because we got to remember, SCU did have that one match for New Japan last year on their one U.S. show, but Chucky T has had a couple of runs, or at least one run with New Japan too. So they're kind of similar as far as that profile goes. But then you compare Kazarian, who was in Impact for a while, which is a pretty big deal. But however, low profile he was, Trent Barreto was still in WWE when it was much more popular.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I guess when you put it like that, we're back kind of at a toss-up. I don't know why. I just feel like AEW is going to have favorability for SCU for the time being. So I'm just going to go with them. And I even think that, not jumping the gun, but I actually could see SCU being that team that gets the first round bye, in this whole tag tournament, however it shakes out.
Yeah, that's true. Because it is kind of almost like a heelish thing to get a first round bye, isn't it?
Yeah, and I feel like they're definitely arrogant. I don't know if they're explicitly heel, but they definitely have that arrogant kind of chip on their shoulder kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like them getting the first round bye, and again, being a veteran team, it's just all the makings for that young, exciting babyface team to rally back and, maybe beat them in the finals or beat them in a future round at least. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to go SCU here.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think I'm just going to kind of stick with best friends out of hope and stubbornness.
Fair enough, friend. Next.
All right, let's get to the main show. Christopher Daniels versus Cima. What do you think?
Continuing my logic of AEW liking SCU, I'm going to go Daniels here.
I'm actually going to agree with you, and I am also going to go Daniels here. I do like Cima, though. I like Cima quite a bit, and if I had to choose a favorite performer out of these two, I would say I probably appreciate Cima a little more than I appreciate Daniels. But as far as, like, you kind of mentioned, that notoriety and kind of making guys who are more well-known, kind of putting them at the forefront, Daniels definitely has a bigger profile than Cima in the U.S., for sure.
Yeah, so we both agree with Daniels, and I do agree with you. Like, if I had to pick the two, Cima, I think I am, like, more high on, but, we'll just have to see how they go with it. But yeah. Next matchup.
Well, before we do move on, I was even going to say, like, I feel like if you would swap Daniels with Scorpio Sky and you would have, like, the more traditional SCU tag team of Daniels and Kazarian, I would probably be much more willing to pick them to win that triple threat tag match. But because it is Scorpio Sky and he is, like, the least known name of the three members of SCU, I think that's a big part of the reason why I'm a little more willing to go with my heart rather than my head on that match.
Yeah. No, I get that, man. Absolutely.
Anyway, next match is Yuka Sakazaki versus Riho versus Nyla Rose. Now, I know that most of the people that are listening to this know who Nyla Rose is, but Yuka Sakazaki was in Double or Nothing. She was one of the three women who was actually on the same team as Aja Kong, or one of the two women, I should say, that was on the same team as Aja Kong, along with Emi Sakura. And if you're not entirely sure who Emi Sakura was, she was the one that did the "We Will Rock You" like beats on when she was like stomping, and then we found out while we were watching it that she also, I believe, founded Ice Ribbon. Yeah, she was the founder, or at least one of the founders. She might have been the founder, but I don't know if it was more than one person, of the Ice Ribbon Joshi promotion in Japan. So that's why she was a big deal. But Yuka Sakazaki was the third member of that team. It was Aja Kong, Emi Sakura, and Yuka Sakazaki. And if you don't remember her, she was like very like happy, joyful. She had, I believe, blonde hair on Double or Nothing, and she had bangs like straight cut across her face, bangs. And then Riho, I honestly, John, I feel like you probably remember Riho better than I do, because I remember it's Riho Abe, because I remember thinking she was related to Miho Abe.
Yeah, I really ended up liking Riho on Double or Nothing. I thought she was very fun to watch. Yuka Sakazaki is going to be very interesting to see. I don't know why, though, man. I just get this sinking feeling that Nyla Rose is going to win. And I don't necessarily mind that. I'm just a bigger Riho fan of the three. So I think I'm going to go Nyla Rose for the win here.
Yeah, it's so interesting because on that first show on Double or Nothing, I think you and I were both kind of predicting that Nyla Rose would get a good showing but wouldn't win, because you picked Britt Baker, I picked Kylie Ray. So we were basically picking anyone but Nyla Rose on that. But I agree with you that she's probably going to win this match. This feels more, because, you know, even with that first match, we kind of knew, like, they had been pushing Kylie Ray on social media. Britt Baker was the first woman that they signed. They wanted to make a big deal out of her. But in this instance, I do feel like Nyla Rose is a much more high-profile performer than either Riho or Yuka Sakazaki. But if they want to try and go for the viral choice, it would be Sakazaki, because I feel like she really got a lot of people's attention on Double or Nothing with her entrance and some of her in-ring antics. But I do think that they're going to end up going with Nyla here. I think Nyla's going to pick up the win here.
Yeah, I completely agree.
All right, so let's get into our third main card match. Cody versus Darby Allin, debuting in AEW. Darby Allin. And I know you said that you wish Darby had a better dance partner here, but I think Cody is the type of guy that'll be able to get Darby over the right way, or help Darby get himself over the right way, I guess I should say. That being said, though, and I hate to do this because you know I'm not a big fan of the guy, but I am going to pick Cody to win.
Oh, no, he's absolutely winning. No, I'm not going to entertain any other notion. Otherwise, I mean, he has a big stake in AEW. He beat Dustin in the big matchup. They're building Cody up. For what? I don't know, because I know it all out. He's going to be teaming with Dustin right against the Young Bucks. Yep. And I definitely think he's
actually, I don't think that's at all out. I think that's at Fight for the Fallen in July.
Okay, fair enough. But regardless, you know, he's doing the tag match with Dustin. Then you have to imagine he's going to be a future AEW World Champion. You know, so they're setting the table for him. I really like Darby Allin. I mean, this is probably the most you're going to hear me talk this whole preview and predictions, because, you know, I'm actually familiar with both these guys. And to be fair, I think I'm familiar with mostly everybody, like, from this point onward. But I really like Darby Allin. I think he's one of my favorite prospects in the game in some time, honestly. I think he's got a great look. He's fun as hell in the ring. He's solid at promos, if not great at promos. I want to actually hear more stuff. So I think he's got a lot of upside. But I think they want to really position Cody as like that savvy ring veteran and one of the bigger deals in AEW, whether that's just inflated ego or otherwise. I'll leave all of you to decide. And I think it'll be a fun match. And I'll even give you, Ashton, I'll even be charitable, and I'll grant you that I think Cody can get Darby Allin over the right way. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. The guys that I know that are going to be a part of this company, I just don't see Darby Allin going over. Cody will go over. And so I'll just be like, glad Darby Allin's here. But so Cody for the win.
Yeah, I'm going to be rooting for Darby Allin to win for sure, but I'm definitely expecting Cody to pick up the W. That said, though, let's get into our next match, and this is really the one that they're kind of building the show around. They're really hyping this match up more than even the main event, from what I've seen. Jon Moxley versus Joey Janela in an unsanctioned match. Now, we already know Moxley has a history of death matches pre-WWE when he was in CZW. Joey Janela comes from a very similar background. I mean, we saw Joey Janela get a lit cigarette stapled to his head by Jimmy Havoc at Double or Nothing. We've seen Joey Janela do some of the dumbest fucking stunts you've ever seen in wrestling. And now we're going to get these guys against each other in a match literally without rules. So, holy shit, what the fuck?
I think it'll be crazy. I think AEW wants to get a lot of value out of Moxley, especially because, you know, from what I've heard, you know, he is the New Japan Pro Wrestling, you know, IWGP United States champion. They have blocked him from working U.S. shows under the New Japan banner. So if he's working U.S. stuff, you know, AEW is going to maximize that value. I'm of really two minds when it comes to this match. And it really all comes down to AEW All Out. And I know this is taking place at All Out, not Fight for the Fallen, because we know that Moxley is facing Kenny Omega. That match is going to be fucking huge, given how Double or Nothing ended. And where my two minds come in is, A, you build the story by making Moxley a credible threat. He wins in a hardcore match. Well, an unsanctioned match. We have to imagine is going to be far more brutal than the fucking pre-show hardcore match. I fully expect blood. If not on Dustin level, maybe even worse. I shudder to fucking think. A lot of creative, inventive spots, etc.
Barbed wire, thumbtacks, maybe even light tubes.
Yeah, absolutely. All that good shit. All that good shit.
Where's Marty the Moth? Because I bet you someone in this match is going to get fucking forked.
Yeah. So you either have Moxley win, he really looks like the threat for All Out, or because Kenny's pissed about the assault at Double or Nothing, and because there are no rules, he screws Moxley out of this matchup, and Joey Janela wins. I feel like my former mind is far more rational here. I think they're just going to have Moxley do what Moxley fucking does, and Joey Janela do what Joey Janela does, and Mox is going to come away with the win, making him look like the threat to Kenny Omega at All Out. And I'm even going to go one step further. You might as well consider that a de facto number one contendership match, because I think whoever wins that is going to face the winner of Hangman Page versus Jericho for the world title down the line. So I think I really think you want to build up Moxley. So I don't want to overthink it. I think Moxley for the win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kenny exacted his revenge in the post match. We shall see. So
yeah, I would even say we don't know if Moxley is going to have a match on Fight for the Fallen. He's probably not, if I had to guess, because I think the day that Fight for the Fallen goes down is also Moxley's first day of G1 competition. So I'm guessing he just straight up won't be on Fight for the Fallen at all. But we do know that Omega is facing Cima. So that's like, it's kind of a similar deal where they're facing someone that's kind of well known, but not really somebody that anyone really considers a main event type player in AEW. So it just seems like they're both getting individual matches on separate pay-per-views so that when All Out comes, it's not like we haven't seen them in 3 months,
Exactly, yeah. I can agree with that.
Because, All Out, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's actually confirmed that we are getting Moxley versus Omega on All Out. That is confirmed 100%. The only other match that is confirmed on that show right now is Page Jericho. That is it. Those are the 2 matches that we know right now are happening on All Out on August 31st. So that is like, I feel like All Out is basically going to be like AEW's SummerSlam, because they already have 2 matches announced for it. And those matches have been announced since May, I want to say. So like 3 months out even.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's get into our semi-main event. Oh, I'm assuming we both picked Moxley to win though, right?
Yes.
Semi-main event, Adam Page, Jimmy Havoc, Jungle Boy, MJF. I think you and I are probably on the same page here as far as like one of the guys in this match is challenging for the world title in 2 months. They probably shouldn't be losing. You're right.
Yeah, you know what, dude? Like, don't get me wrong. You and I are completely on the same page, but I'd be lying if I said that I also haven't considered the possibility that MJF might win this by stealing one by pinning Jungle Boy.
Well, and I don't even know if I would sign on to pinning Jungle Boy, because if he pins Adam Page, then you would definitely think he would have a claim to add himself to the triple threat or to the All Out match for the title, and he wants to. He made that clear on Double or Nothing in the Bret Hart segment.
Yeah, because you know what, dude? Like, Jericho's a great heel, and he's the veteran name, and his name has value, which is why we talked about him getting the Dominion main event. I'm invoking that same logic here.
Yeah.
Hangman Page, we both love him. It's not anything against him, but I feel like if you're really going to sell this, you might as well because I feel like MJF gets talked about a lot. Like, I feel like he knows how to work social media. I think he's really becoming that personality that people are talking about when people are having those conversations. Hey, man, what wrestlers do you like? Or what wrestlers are your favorites right now? I feel like MJF would come up in conversation slowly. I think he would be a surplus to this. I feel like he would be adding to this match if he pinned Adam Page and went to All Out and made it a triple threat. So I'm almost tempted to go that route. Again, I'm of 2 minds, just like the Moxley Janela matchup. You either have Adam Page win straight up and make him look really strong, and then it's just him and Jericho, especially the AEW are believers that, world title matches should usually always be one-on-one matches, 2 guys just settling their differences. Or you have MJF win because a Fatal 4-Way is inherently chaotic. MJF is an opportunistic character. He seizes an opportunity, and then he goes to AEW management. I just want a match that your number one contender Golden Boy was in. Maybe you've been looking in the wrong places for your next top guy. Maybe it's Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And against my better judgment, admittedly, I think I'm actually last minute going to say that I think MJF is going to win this Fatal 4-Way.
I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. That would be for some very entertaining stuff, I hope.
Because, dude, here's my thing. You already had MJF lose the Battle Royal, right? Being eliminated by Paige. Why, if you just wanted Paige to win, are you putting these guys in the same ring together again?
Yep.
I feel like you need to give MJF something. If this promotion is serious about wins and losses mattering, MJF needs a win here because by all accounts, he'll be 0-2 after this. And, like, this guy's going to be the top heel of the company. And I just feel like that record isn't befitting that kind of status. I would like to see him reach 500 at the expense of Adam Page, bringing Adam Page down to 500, and then they have to square their beef down the line. And I still want MJF to be the first AEW World Champion. I'll say that too. So maybe there is a bit of bias working there. I wouldn't be honest if I didn't disclose that fact. But I just don't see what sense it makes. If your point was purely to really put the stamp on Adam Page, why make another guy with a lot of stock in MJF also suffer? Because Havoc's an establishment. He's going to be fine. He's Jimmy fucking Havoc, and he wants the match with Moxley anyway. He's not anywhere near the world title. Jungle Boy, I have no idea what to even think of him. I'm going to need more time to form an adequate opinion. It's these two guys, Paige and MJF, that I'm focused on, and both are like, I mean, Paige literally is a world title contender. MJF isn't far behind. I don't see why we would have to make Adam Page look strong at the expense of MJF again. So I think we're going to get swerved here. I think MJF is going to win this match. So I'm picking him here.
Yeah, all right, man. Well, I think the difference here is that I'm kind of going at this show with the mentality of like almost like it's a house show or like a B level pay-per-view, and I feel like it's more likely that it's going to be like a send the crowd home happy kind of thing. So I am going to just pick Paige to win here. Not to say that your idea isn't a good one. I think it would be amazing if MJF would win and then find a way to make the all-out, inaugural championship match a triple threat involving himself. I would love that. That would be incredible. Especially because then he would be rubbing shoulders with Jericho, and we already know, like, that's the kind of rub that makes people.
And that's like, not to cut you off, dude, but I'm actually so glad you used that phrasing because it triggered like a memory in me. He just had a Twitter thing with Jericho. Like, why have these interactions if it wasn't going to lead to something? Now, I know Twitter's a shitstorm in wrestling today. Seems like everybody's got a fucking axe to grind. But I don't know, man. Maybe – because, see, this is my problem as a wrestling analyst is that I understand that I am very naive a lot of the time and I look too deep into a lot of shit. But I just can't see, like, all of those pieces are just too smoothly coalescing. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems a bit too neat that, like, you've got Adam Page in a match with Jericho. Adam Page is about to have a fatal four-way that has MJF in it. And then you have MJF go after Jericho on Twitter, and they have a back and forth. Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to put tinfoil hats on anybody or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, to me, and again, I've already admitted to being really naive and looking too deep into shit, that, like, it just seems to be a bit too neat without it going anywhere. So I really feel like, yeah, dude, if they have Adam Page win, I'll be happy for the dude, but I'll just, again, sigh and be like, God damn it, like, why, why put all those pieces together? So, yeah, MJF winning, I think, honestly, when I look at all those facts in totality, is the smartest choice. So we'll just see what happens.
I agree. That would be the best choice. I just, again, I think they're going to treat it more like a house show. So I just think that the guy that they're already trying to build as a top guy is just going to keep winning. So
right.
Yeah. So, I got Paige, you got MJF. Should be an amazing match regardless. I mean, anytime you get Jimmy Havoc involved, Jesus Christ. Actually, you know what I want to do? I want to ask you, and I even want to ask chat. Now, this is who you want to win, rather than who you think is going to win. Because, if it's who you think is going to win, everyone's going to say, most likely, one of the two people that John and I already picked, Paige or MJF. Who do you want to win, though? Rank the four guys in this from 1 to 4 as far as who you want to win most. From 1 to 4, down to 4 being who you want to win the least.
I'd say 1 MJF, 2 Adam Page, 3 Jimmy Havoc, 4 Jungle Boy.
Oh, man. See, and I would say 1 Jimmy Havoc, 2 MJF, 3 Hangman Page, 4 Jungle Boy. Because just like...
Damn, you're huge on Jimmy Havoc, huh?
I fucking love Jimmy Havoc, dude. I am so glad. And it's so sad, too, because he was so great for, like... a run in Progress, but then like Progress got in bed with WWE and it completely neutered Jimmy Havoc's character. So I'm just so glad to kind of see him almost similarly to with Moxley. Like I feel like he's finally Unchained again, you know?
And that's why dude, I really hope, speaking of Jimmy Havoc, because I'm not trying to diss Jimmy by any means. I too love Jimmy Havoc. My thing is, though, like, he's been so vocal. Give me Moxley. I want Moxley.
Yeah.
I really, and here's the thing, dude. If they're going to do that fucking match, which they should, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is that there aren't currently any shows planned for post All Out that I know of.
Right. But
we get to All Out, and really, I don't know what they're planning on doing after that, but we know that if we do get Moxley versus Havoc, it will not be this summer. Like, it's going to have to be post All Out, because Moxley won't be able to show up to fight for the Fallen. He already has a match at Fyter Fest tomorrow, and his match is going to be with Kenny at All Out. So, like, him versus Havoc is a match that needs to happen, but I think we're just going to kind of have to be patient and wait for news on when it can happen.
Right, and I hope when it does happen, they really give it the narrative care that it deserves, because that'll be a story with both those guys in terms of promos. I will be fucking hooked. Like, that's something, even on social media, I'll be following every YouTube clip. I'll be following every fucking tweet, because to me, and I don't want to get hyperbolic, and I definitely know it's hyperbole, but I'm using it to, I guess, strengthen my overall point. I feel like for hardcore wrestling fans, and I mean literally like hardcore wrestling fans, Jimmy Havoc versus Moxley is kind of like their own Rock versus Hogan. Like, it's just to me, a big fucking deal when you've got two guys that are known for that style finally meeting in the ring like this. So I really hope they give it the care that it deserves.
Yeah. I hope if that does, like, I shouldn't even say when that feud happens, I really hope that Nick Mondo does work with both guys, because we've seen Nick Mondo's work with Moxley as far as like the initial kind of escaping the prison vignette that he had on his Twitter, and then the Death Rider thing for New Japan. Well, imagine that level of production for Jimmy Havoc too.
Exactly. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right, man. I guess let's get to our main event.
Our main event, which is a 6-man tag, the Elite, the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid. And I gotta tell you, man, I feel like didn't the Young Bucks win at Double or Nothing?
Yes, they did.
So, damn, that kind of throws a wrench in my plan, because I was gonna pick the Elite to win. You know what? Fuck it. I'm still picking the Elite to win. It's Kenny. It's the Young Bucks. They're probably going to win anyway. And especially that now that Pac had to be replaced.
Yeah. I'm going with the Elite as well, because it is Kenny and the Bucks, and this is kind of their house. And I mean, I like the Lucha Bros. I'm not too familiar with the Laredo Kid, but I mean, if he's running with them, it's got to be fucking legit. So yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna go with being the Elite. So yeah, I think they're gonna win this match, and we can just focus on AEW All Out, which I think is gonna be a huge show. Like to me, this is gonna be a fun show, but I'd be lying if I said I was like really emotionally invested in it. My next big emotional investment for AEW is gonna be All Out in August.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like I think
Fyter Fest is like it's really meant to be like. It's like a passion project for Kenny because of the video game thing with the fighting games at its CEO and stuff like that. And then Fight for the Fallen, from what I understand, is a charity show. So All Out is their next like proper actual pay-per-view type show, you know?
Yeah. And I think shit's going to go down on that show. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think, you've even said kind of throughout, this is kind of like a house show kind of vibe. So again, it should be fun. It's probably because it begins what time? 7 p.m.
I believe so. Yeah, it should.
Yeah, honestly, I hope we get out of here at like 10:30 or 11, but I could see us going to midnight. On the whole, a lot of these matches look like they're going to be fun. Some I really am just kind of like meh about. So I think taking all that into account, I'd say my hype for this is like a 7.5 out of 10. I'd say that's fair. I think AEW All Out, though, I'm more in that 8.59 range. Maybe I'll even get to 9.5 by the time we do preview predictions for that show. Because just what we already have guaranteed, Moxley and Omega and the first world title matchup, which, cards predict to change. MJF might get added to it if he wins this fatal 4-way. Already for those two matches, I am hyped as hell. So
okay, so I'm seeing the buy-in, which is the pre-show is at 7:30.
Okay.
So I'm guessing it'll be a shorter show too, because you've got to realize, dude, like the buy-in, which is the pre-show, is an hour long, but there are 3 matches slated to happen in that 1 hour. And then Fyter Fest itself is only 6 hours long. So we will almost definitely be out of here no later than 11, if I had to guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I would even say, like, if you just go by, 3 matches on the pre-show and that's an hour, 6 matches on the main show, that should be 2 hours. But I'm sure that the main show matches will get a little bit more time, which is why I said 11, because that gives the main show 2.5 hours. We'll see.
Exactly. Yeah, because again, with something of more of a house show vibe, I'm only saying that because, like, now if it was AEW All Out, we'd expect a show like that to go to midnight, and understandably so.
Yeah.
But given that this has a house show vibe, do the NXT TakeOver route. Be 2.5 hours, have a good time, go fucking nuts, send people home happy with enough time to do whatever they want with their night or whatever the fuck. Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. But, yeah, on the whole, 7.5 out of 10 is how hyped I am for this, so we'll see.
All right. Yeah, I was going to say 8, so we're close to even again. Any kind of final thoughts that you want to get out before we close out of this thing?
Not really. Just hoping for a good show, and I want to thank everybody that came out to hear our thoughts about it. You guys are the real MVPs, so we'll see you Saturday.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you enjoyed our preview predictions. Make sure to like the video if you did. We would also love it if you would leave a comment down below and let us know what you think is going to be the results of all these matches. We've got 9 total matches to predict, and we already went through all of them, but I'd be curious to hear what some of you guys might decide, what you think is going to happen. Maybe you disagree with us. Maybe you just kind of agree with us across the board, or maybe you agree with one or the other, but we've got different opinions, and we know that you all do too. So let us know. You can also subscribe to the channel if you're new. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Twitch if you'd like to. You can click the bell icon to join the notification squad. You can buy our merch on Teespring. You can donate to our Patreon. You can like our Facebook page. You can share this video and this channel with all of your wrestling fan friends and let them in on the best kept secret in the YouTube wrestling community. That's right, we are TwitWow, and we are the workhorses of the YWC, and we will be live reacting to Fyter Fest tomorrow.